Okay?
Okay, all right. Let me take a look and see what you got. Let me see.
See where I am.
All right, so yeah, so okay, you're perfect now. That's where you want to be at. Yeah, just like that.
Just like that. So I was
So
locked
now,
in. Say it
yeah,
again?
you're perfect. I think you're perfect now.
Okay, I'm perfect now. Okay, Johnny, you can call back now. All right. So when I finish interviewing one person, I've got to turn it off and come back again.
Yeah, because you don't want it to go too long. So what I would do is just hit the X in the top corner and then start back over again. Yep.
Got it. Thank you so much. Okay. But I like working with an iPad better than the telephone. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I told Celeste that. I said it's gonna be a lot bigger and easier to navigate this.
It is. It's easier to navigate this without any question. Okay. Wait a minute. There's
Yeah.
Johnny. Let me see. Is that Johnny?
Yeah. Now remember, don't click on his comment. Click on his face.
Oh, on his face.
On
Okay.
his face. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to like the comment. You want to click on his face, and then she give you the option.
Okay. On a little face.
Yeah. I'll
Okay.
tell him the post.
Okay. Then touch add. Bring Johnny on camera. Yes. Okay, he's coming. I think I did it right.
Hallelujah!
Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness.
There's a God!
Yes, there is. Let the record show. Ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen, the author of the book From the Hood to Doing Good.
I got to get set up now. I had to reset my studio. Hold on.
Okay, yes. Where are you? Where are you, Johnny?
I'm in my office in Southlake, Texas, in my studio. Hold on one second.
Okay.
I've been praying for you for the last 10 minutes.
Thank you so much. Prayers have been answered. All right. This is great. Johnny, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I remember when I started. How long have we been together, Johnny?
About 15 years now.
Wow, where did the time
Yeah.
go? Whoa.
Wow, it's been amazing.
It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is my alter ego, Johnny Wimbrey. Where did you go, Johnny? Oh, there you are. All right. And so he's an author. He is a devoted husband and father, and he's a very talented speaker. And Kim Watt is one of those electrifying speaker, and Dwight Pleasure that you're going to meet, and Kareem Ellis that you perhaps if you're watching you heard the other day, and Johnny that you're going to hear today for the first time. And I tell you that one of the things about being a mentor, it's a seesaw relationship where there are
Yes.
people that if you are a decent coach, that you coach them and eventually they will surpass you and they will coach you. And I'll never forget, we were going back to Miami and had to speak. And I said, Johnny, are you coachable? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, don't bring much product. I said, this is my home base. So they don't buy many products here. So you don't need to do that. He said, okay, thank you. So we get there. Johnny bought a ton of products. I said, Johnny, you remember my conversation with you? He said, yes, sir. I said, okay. So we spoke. At the end of the presentation, I think I must have generated around $3,000. How much did you generate, Johnny?
That day I probably did about 40 to 50,000.
Yes, and I said, whoa. I said, how did you do that? I'll never forget what you said to me. You said, never think that you know what's in people's pocket.
Never.
I never forgot that. Okay, I never. But I wanted to take his butt out to the parking lot and jam
Yeah.
him up.
I was gonna say, you gotta tell him you actually got upset at me.
That's right.
You took my Rolex.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want you to share with them, first of all, your story, because when you think about your story, which is the story of so many African American males, and you and your brother, the disparity between where you are now, where he is now, how you have been transforming people's lives. And to me, I find it amazing how people can be brought up in the same family and end up being dramatically different. I want you to like this page and share it. Like it and share it. Get your children and everybody you know to watch this. And you have a club, organization, business that you need a speaker to come in and to electrify and bring out the best in them. This young man, he knows how to do this like no other. So, Johnny, I want you to share your story, if you please.
Well, Les, first of all, thank you and Happy New Year to everybody who's tuning in right now. And it's always an honor and a pleasure to be on any platform that you present and any invitation that you send my way. I feel like I'm serving your purpose, which is to expand your voice across the planet. So it's an honor to be a part of the expansion of your voice and your purpose, Les. And I love you for life, and you know that. My earliest memory in life was living in a battered women's shelter. I don't really come from the type of upbringing of this type of education in terms of personal development and striving to become better on a daily basis. And not just better. I think we're all designed to seek and fight to become better, but not just better externally. It's actually better internally. I think because I am from the streets, you don't have to really teach us to become better externally. It's a fight in our life. That's something that I think that everybody achieves. But at some point in life, we disconnect from wanting to become better inside. And that's where I come from, the tagline, you got to say increase mind, body, spirit, and soul. So my first memory in life was living, in a battered women's shelter. I'm the youngest of three baby boys. I'm the baby boy of three. My mother and I and my two older brothers, we left Fort Worth, Texas to San Jose, California. I was maybe 3 years old. And my first memory of life was actually being in the first shelter. I remember, reaching in for a gallon of milk and someone saying no. And it's amazing what your first memory of life is, because that, if you're not taught the right way and if you're not careful, you'll associate your first memory to dictate who you're going to become, throughout your path in life. And that no was resounding. It wasn't just resounding in my head or my mind, it was resounding in my heart. The first memory was no. And the truth was, it wasn't my milk. That milk belonged to another family. And that's how I found out that I was homeless. That was my introduction to, Johnny, this is not your home. You're in a shelter with other families who are being protected just like you. So it belonged to another family. So, through all out, it just wasn't a normal upbringing as a child. My mother did her best, God bless her. She created as much stability as she knew how to create. And the truth is, we just weren't in a normal situation. I failed the second grade. I was in special ed when I was in sixth grade for one day, and you helped me formulate that message. For one day, I was in special ed, and I verbally didn't accept it, and I got myself out of there. But I ended up, being back in Fort Worth, Texas. I was raised around gangs and violence and drugs my entire life. And it's like you say, Les, there's three of us. I got three brothers. And I'm the baby boy. I got a brother named Willie. I got a brother named Larry. Larry's 2 years older. Willie's 1 year older. And today, I'm sitting in my office of a multi-million-dollar company in my studio here in South Lake, Texas. My brother Willie is a principal. He's doing very good in life. He's a minister. And I got a brother named Larry who's serving 40 years in prison. And the difference is, we all were exposed to the exact same thing. We had the exact same parents, exact same battered women's shelter, exact same gang and drug infested streets. The difference is we just participated on different levels. And for some reason, Willie was able to stay focused and not stick his hand out there to see if the fire was really hot. I played with the fire. My brother who's in prison, he played with the fire. And I'm not better than my brother who's in prison. The truth is, I just didn't get caught. But what I did get caught up in is the fact that my past doesn't have to determine my future, which starts my story, which is from the hood to doing good.
And I wrote the foreword for that proudly, and I really, really enjoyed
Thank you so much.
that. Yes, and so when you speak, what is it that you share with the audiences that you speak to?
It depends, really. You have taught me to not have a cookie cutter message. You taught me, Johnny, you got to listen to the listening, and you've got to go into serve. And I think that's something that you taught me as a speaker very early on is we are not entertainers. We may be entertaining, but we're not entertainers. We've got to go in with the heart to serve. So I've been, I've crafted my message in a way that I can almost fit my message into any audience, whether it's you want peak performance skills with your sales development team, or whether you want, that internal belief of peak performance, or whatever it is, overcoming adversity, leadership. You have taught me to, fit my message into any purpose as long as I'm serving the audience. But my core message is, my absolute core message is, you cannot detach yourself from the mindset that you still have the possibility of increase. And increase is mind, body, spirit, and soul. Every day I wake up, I'm like a sniper, Les. I am a sniper. And I'm looking for that target of increase. Small increase, big increase, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's small or big. If it's big or small, it's none of my business. The only thing that's my business is increase.
And so when you look at the fact, there's an African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. How is it that you begin to increase that part of yourself and decrease that part of yourself that does not represent the best that is in you?
That's an absolutely incredible message, Les. When I was in sales, and I've always been the top salesperson in every company I've ever been. And even since I was like 20 years old, I sold health and life insurance. And I heard something, I don't know, I don't remember if it was Brian Tracy or Zig Ziglar, but they said that you've got to master your strengths and manage your weaknesses. And I think what most people do is they do the opposite. They put more attention on their weaknesses than they do their strengths. And I believe that if you focus on your weaknesses, it's going to multiply your weaknesses. But if you focus on your strengths and your gifts and your passions and things that increase you, it's going to bring increase into your life. One of my favorite quotes that I like, that I say, and I know we all have our own favorite quote about ourselves. My favorite quote that speaks to me more than anything else is, you have to surround yourself around the thinking that outthinks you.
Now say that again.
The Bible says you have to surround yourself around the thinking that outthinks you, because I'm not safe with my own thinking. Professor Einstein said the thinking that gets you into a situation doesn't possess the thinking to get you out.
Mm-hmm.
So if my thinking gets me in trouble, my thinking won't get me out of trouble. So I've learned, and you know me, we're kind of alike. We know how to get in trouble, don't we?
Yes, we do. I remember I was about to get in a fight at the airport. A lady came up and she said, Mr. Byron, trouble is easy to get into, but hard to get out of.
Hard to get out.
Yeah.
And you have talked me off the cliff many times.
Yes.
I'm very overprotective of Les. Yeah. He's extremely overprotective of me.
And you are extremely overprotective of me. I'll never forget, I was at a meeting that you invited me to, and there was something going on with the PA system. And it went on for a very long time. And I said, hey, brother, just leave it alone. And the PA system had all kind of feedback, and Liberty City jumped up. I dropped the microphone, threw it down, it bounced up in the air, and you ran up to the stage and you looked at me and you said, Les. And as you looked me in the eyes, our eyes locked. Remember what you said to me at that time?
I said, Les? That's all I said was Les?
Yeah.
And I gave you that look.
Yeah.
And here's how the enemy within can work on us if we're not careful. It didn't mess up a whole bunch of times, maybe 3 times. But in Les's mind, it was self-sabotage. Somebody was trying to sabotage. So I don't know where you were at that particular time mentally. I don't know the conversations that you had earlier that day. But here's the thing. There's always going to be obstacles that happen in our life. And you instantly took control of that situation, and I can't even say you ever lost the audience, which is magical. You interrupted the audience, but I don't think you ever lost them because you incorporated something in your message of something that was going on in the now. It's in the now where we win.
Yes.
Winning in the later just basically means you cleaned it up.
Yeah.
But winning in the now is super important, and you switched it and you won in the now. That's a funny story because instantly I became incredibly overprotective of the moment that we were in, but I didn't care what happened in there. I didn't care if it absolutely didn't matter what the audience did at that particular event. I had your back.
Yes, you did. You said, Les, and when you spoke, I heard you, and you looked at me, and your look was, this is not you. You call Les Brown, the real Les Brown, forward because anger, and I was angry. Anger is a wind
Yeah.
that blows out the lamp of the mind. And you called me back before the audience, and I was able to go on. There was an interruption, but it did not possess me. I went back and continued to do what I had to do. And I thank God for you.
And absolutely. And we use that moment to train for the last decade.
Yes.
On how you can lose it and how you can regain it. And here's something that and I want people to listen to me very intently to what I'm about to say, because we've all heard it said different ways, but I want you to listen to the way I say it. It's not what happens to us. It's what we allow to happen in us when it happens to us. Let me repeat that. It's never what happens to us. It's what we allow. Allow is a key word.
Yeah.
It's what we allow to happen in us when it happened to us. The battered women's shelter happened to me. It never happened in me. Failing the second grade happened to me. I never allowed it to happen in me. Now, there are things that I allowed to happen in me, and it's like you teach me, Les, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame, and that's why I have experts in my life that help me like you, because I can't trust my own thinking. You have to surround yourself around the thinking that outthinks me. Les Brown is my thinking that outthinks me. Let me say it in the scripture. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety.
Yeah.
Pause. Don't rush this one. I want everybody to listen to me. Pause. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety. Now read it backwards. What is it not saying? Where there is no counsel, you are unsafe. I'm safe because I've invested myself into the thinking of Les Brown. I'm safe because I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, most of it I didn't even have, into the thinking of someone like Les Brown. So I would like to say that if there was a good definition of cheating, I cheated by surrounding myself around the information that outthinks me.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that'll preach. Yeah, when you look at, and one of the things that I love is a story that you have when you talk about your life and what you went through, that you were in church, your best friend had been killed. Tell them about that story, please.
So I was a junior in high school, and I was 18 years old. I'm a year behind. So I'm a junior in high school, and it was the last week of January, the year 1993. I get a phone call during the middle of the Super Bowl. The Cowboys were playing. I don't remember who they were playing, maybe the Bills. And during the halftime, a friend of mine named Spud, one of my homeboys, Curtis Coleman, he calls me and says, Mookie's dead, and Red killed him. And unfortunately, that wasn't my first friend murdered, but it was the first friend that I had that was murdered where I actually knew the guy who murdered him. I knew him for years. And there was a rage that built up inside me because I knew Mookie had started the process of changing his life around, but he just got caught up into his old information or old lifestyle, caught up with him one weekend. And we all went to the wake. We were invited to go to the wake. The friends, the close friends were invited to the wake. And it was basically all of our boys. And when we were invited to the wake the night before the funeral, I kind of feel like it was a setup now looking back. But the mother made sure that we were there because there was no question we were planning a retaliation. She knew that. There was no question we were.
Mm-hmm.
And that night I showed up with a gun. I was going to pay respect. Here was the deal. We pay respect and then we go get them. And that was the deal. So we come to pay respect, and the mother got in front of the casket that night. And she said, I forgive the young man who killed my son. Now, that moment of my life, 18 years old, I had the most mature moment of my life at that moment.
Mm.
And the moment was, I don't love him like that. If the mother had already found forgiveness, who am I? Who am I to go get revenge when the mother says I forgive? Now, looking back at that,
Mm-hmm.
that is an above extraordinary moment.
Yes.
For me to internalize that within a second, and that could only be God. That night, I walked up and I asked the preacher to come outside and meet me in the parking lot. And I gave him my gun. And he looked at me and he said, you're not going to get this back. And I said, I don't want it back. And I said, I need a restart. I need a restart button. I need a reset. That night, we all went to a teacher's house, Mama and Papa Crane. You know, you always have these teachers, like you have Mr. Washington, that kind of keep you out of trouble. They distract you. So we spent the night over her house. And the counselors came over there to speak with us as well. So they knew we were going to retaliate. So they kept us captive and entertained before the funeral. So we all woke up. I went to sleep that night and I prayed. I remember laying on the floor praying. I said, God, please send somebody in my life that can just help me stay out of trouble, that will motivate me to stay out of trouble. And in my mind, you know, my brother Willie's a minister. I didn't want to listen to him. My brother Larry's in prison. I didn't want to listen to him, definitely. And the next day at the funeral, I'm sitting in the funeral. To my left, maybe 6 people down, there are 3 chicks that are at this funeral that I don't know. They're hot too. They're beautiful. And I'm like, who are these girls? So after the funeral, we went to the grave site. We went back to Miss Crane, Papa Crane's house, and the girls were there. And, you know, me and you, we're silly. So I get on a piano and I'm starting playing a song. You know, and I said, who knows how to play the other part of this song? Dun, 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 dun. Who knows how to play that part? And this girl named Crystal says, I do. And it's the same girl I was checking out at the funeral.
Mm.
And she come over there and she sat right next to me. She jacked it up. She didn't really know how to play it. She just wanted to come sit next to me. And that woman, that was February the 6th, 1993. February the 6th, 1993. I married her in 1998.
Mm.
And we've been together ever since. She was something that happened in my life that distracted me from my past life. And here's what I want people to understand. It may not come in the form of another human being. It may come in a form of finding your purpose, finding your destiny. Being with Crystal, I started to walk different. I started to act different. I talked different because I wanted to impress her. I wanted to impress her parents. And you have an acting background. I have an acting background. So I just turned it on. And starting to act different less caused me to think different. And it caused me to be exposed to different things. And I bet you can relate to what I'm saying. The first time maybe you said something, you know, in Shakespeare. The first time, you know, you begin to, you know, quote, you know, anybody. It just causes you to think different when you're saying other words that are not your own.
Mm-hmm.
And it pulled out something inside me that started the process. And I didn't get out overnight, but I started the process like this.
Wow. And so from giving that minister your gun and your marriage and started having children that took your life in another direction.
Yes, sir.
How'd you find out about me?
You know, I was in the multi-level marketing industry by the time I was 25.
Mm-hmm.
And that year I became a top money earner in a company that only lasted maybe 11 months after I joined. And I tasted the Kool-Aid of the multi-level marketing industry. And I've always wanted to be in control of my own schedule. That's why I sold insurance. That's why I sold home security systems. And I made over $100,000 my first 90 days in network marketing. Now, To this day, I've never met anybody who's ever done that. And that's been 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
When I say my first company, I didn't join a company and switch. My very first company, my first ID number, I made $100,000. So I tasted success, but I got involved with a company that was deemed a scam, and I just didn't know any better. I was new. I didn't know the difference. But becoming a part of that industry, I started being surrounded around personal development. And right around maybe my third company, the company went out of business again. I was at the top of the comp plan again. And I said, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I want to be a voice for the industry of multi-level marketing. I don't want to be a multi-level marketer. So the word started getting out that Johnny Wimbrey is unrecruitable. Johnny Wimbrey, if you call him and recruit him, he's going to be offended because he wants to be a voice for the industry. He wants to be personal development for the industry of multi-level marketing. And a friend of mine named Mike Asquay called me, and Mike said, Johnny, he's good, he's smart. He said, I know you don't have an interest of being a part of a company that I'm involved in, but Les Brown is coming to tour our company today. This is in Arlington, Texas, U.S. Health Advisors, Paul Wood. And he said, he's going to be at the baseball park in Arlington, Texas, and he's going to come tour the company today. He said, if you come, I know you're not interested, but if you come meet Les Brown, I'll introduce you to him because I know you want to be a speaker, and why not be attached to the best of the best? So I gave him a script on how, this is maybe 2002. I gave him a script on how he was to introduce me to you.
Wow.
And he did it exactly, and we've been connected ever since.
So what was the script?
The script was he was going to introduce me as a dynamic speaker who's up and coming, who only wants to learn from you.
Wow. You had it under control down to the T. Wow. And now, and since you've now, so how many years has it been since you, yes, so you started speaking professionally then, from that time to now? Just give a guesstimate of how much have you generated. For people, and you know, they said the proof is in the pudding, you know, show me the money.
Okay, so I got two answers for that. First answer is, as a professional speaker, in terms of profits, I would say it's up to about $43 million right now.
Yes.
But most people go by revenue.
Yes.
Because of what you taught me, because of my ability to lead to the point where I have leaders who are leaders. So I've duplicated myself, leaders who have leaders who have leaders. I'm going to France tomorrow, and I'm speaking in Lyon, France. And many of my European leaders will meet me there. So maybe 3 or 4 times a year, I travel around the world to work with my leaders to make sure that we're still on the right path.
Yeah.
And I'm saying all that to say this, that has led me to revenuing over $100 million a month.
Did you say what?
Over $100 million a month in revenue through my organizations that I've built based on your ability to train me as a leader and a speaker. Here's what I want people to understand. I'm not saying I'm profiting $100 million a month. That's not what I'm saying.
Yes.
I am definitely profiting multiple 6 figures a month. Yeah. And this is new.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
This is hot off the press. Nobody knows this yet. But I'm profiting right now multiple 6 figures a month because of what you taught me. See, I love residual income.
Yes.
I want to be able to speak for free because I can afford to. However, I'll take the money.
Yes.
So the last 15 years of my life, I've created an atmosphere where whether I'm on stage or not, I have people on stage saying what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And I want people to understand this. Creating your mark in the world, you have to share that dot, that little bitty dot. If this is the earth and you just put a dot on the earth, well, if you train somebody else to share that dot over here in Australia, it's still the same message. What Les has taught me in the last 15 years, I've been able to duplicate that through leaders around the world. So even though most people won't call my success or a large percentage of my success as a professional speaker, I do, because it's the same voice that you taught me. Les taught me something. He said, and I remember that day in Florida. I believe we were in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and you said, Johnny, don't bring any money. I mean, don't bring any product.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you bring all this product to Fort Lauderdale, you're going to end up going back with the product.
Yes, I did tell you that.
And I said, well, what do you mean? And Les says, this particular audience, they're good people, they're hungry, but they may not have the budget for what you want to sell. And this is the very words, Les. I told you, I showed up with all this product.
Yes.
And I remember you looking at me like I was crazy because I had to pay extra money because that's how heavy my luggage was. And I had like 3 pieces. And you looked at me like I was crazy, like, Johnny, didn't you hear me? And I said, Les, don't ever put your hands in somebody else's pockets. And that was my first day. I made about $50,000 in product sales. And I wasn't going against what you told me. I was going with what I felt I could do.
Yes. And you did it.
Does that make sense?
It made sense extremely well. And I told you to watch your knees in the parking lot.
Hey, let's tell them about, okay, so fast forward several years later, I remember being maybe in Barbados. I was somewhere in the Caribbean speaking. And you called me and you said, Johnny, I just spoke to a group of about 350 qualified people. And we know as a speaker, when you say qualified, that means they paid to be there.
Yeah.
They are there because they are hungry and money is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was doctors or physicians. It was a high profile crowd. And you said, Johnny, something's not right. You said, I just got off stage speaking for 45 minutes and I sold about $45,000 worth of product. And you said, there are other speakers here who can't touch you, and that's true, that sold a 6-figure room, 100,000. And I said, Les, okay, tell me a little bit about what you offered. And you probably remember this, and I won't go too much into detail unless you want to. I just said, Les, that's too good to be true. I said, Les, you're giving them too much to the point where it doesn't feel like it's true. Like your heart is, you want to give away the world because you have a heart. You want to just flood people with information, and everybody else is just selling one thing. You're selling one thing and giving all this with them. And I said, you have to tell them why. Why are you doing it? And I never heard from you again.
Right.
I didn't hear from you for maybe 45 days later. And we were in Trinidad. You remember this?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes.
We were back in the islands. We were in Trinidad, and I'm speaking on stage, and I introduce you.
Yes.
You're coming after me. I introduce you. I give you the microphone, and Les says, Johnny, come back. Now, I don't want to come back because you got to know Les. Les is going to do a push-up challenge. I don't want a push-up challenge problem. I don't want to battle Les Brown in push-ups right now because he could do 100 push-ups at that time, and I could do probably 40. So I'm not going to let you kick my ass in push-ups in front of this whole crowd. So I'm like, Les, what do you want? Johnny, come back. So I turn around, and he's on his knees. Les Brown, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy, one of the top speakers on the planet, is on his knees. It's no joke.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Johnny, the student has now become the mentor. And the crowd went crazy.
Yes.
And it took about 30 seconds for them to calm down. And I'm emotional. I'm like, what is he talking about? And he says, Johnny, you coached me a couple months ago on what I should do on stage. And you said, Johnny, because of you, I had my largest hour in the history of my professional speaking career because I applied 5 minutes of coaching of what you taught me.
Yes.
And I lost it.
Yeah.
Because to me, you are a god as a speaker. And I don't use that terminology. You probably never will hear me say that again.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, in my eyes, even into this day, I don't know one person on the planet that has the ability to do what you do on stage in 45 minutes. I've never, and I've been surrounded around the best of the best. I've shared the stage with Jim Rohn, and I've done projects with Brian Tracy and Dr. John Gray, and even spoke at the Zig Ziglar Corporation twice when he was still alive. And all that is attributed to you. But to me, you were still, I don't know anybody who could do what you do in 45 minutes. I just don't. You have the ability to captivate, and you're telling me that the mentor has now become the student and you're on your knees. And it's because of one thing that I taught you that created your largest financial day on stage. And I'll never forget that moment. And if there's ever a movie on your life, I want that to be a part of the movie, because that was, I want that was so impactful for me.
Well, I believe that you're never too old to learn, and you're never too young to teach. And you taught me something,
sir.
and because I was open, it impacted my life, and it impacted my family, because it impacted the money that I was able to generate as a result of following your directions. I want you to tell people, share with people your information if they need a speaker for their business, for their multi-level marketing organization, for their church. I want you to share with people how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. Always, you can go to coachjohnny.com, coachjohnny.com right now. If they're looking for personal coaching, individually in their multi-level marketing career, in their sales career, or, you know, becoming an author, becoming an effective communicator. And here's what I train people under the umbrella of communication. Your ability to effectively communicate will make you, or it will cost you millions. And let me say that again. It's going to make you or cost you. There is no in between. So your ability to effectively communicate. The way I met you, Les Brown, I told Mike Asquay how to effectively communicate our introduction.
Yes.
So your ability to effectively communicate will make you or cost you millions. Me coaching him on how to introduce me has led me to over $50 million in profits. But I had to coach him how to articulate how to introduce me. So now I teach people how to articulate who they are.
Yeah.
Who they are. So that's coachjohnny.com, co-starauthor.com. I'm always looking for people to co-star author books with. And if you want to book me as a speaker, go to bookjohnny.com. Bookjohnny.com. My team is in the office right now, and they're ready for your phone calls. And I'm not joking. I'll talk to you today if you reach out to my team right now. Bookjohnny.com, coachjohnny.com, co-starauthor.com. It doesn't matter. Go there. You'll see all of that. And I'll work on. Les, I want to tell a quick story. I want you to tell the story. Okay, you can tell the story. I'm going to laugh on this one if you tell the whole story. You met me in Las Vegas a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And I was on stage at the GoPro event with Eric Worre. And I called you. And we crossed wires in terms of the information that I was wanting to articulate to you. And what Les heard was, what Les heard was, Les, I need you in Las Vegas right now. So Les.
Yes, I did.
Les, okay, how old are you, Les?
74.
74 years old.
Yeah.
And I know he looks amazing. Amazing. You don't call somebody who's 74 years old and say, I need you in Vegas right now. Les, that's what he heard. What I was saying was, Les, I'm in Vegas. And I had two conversations, but he only heard one. He put both of them together, and he frantically booked a flight. You got to understand, Les is very overprotective of me. Yeah. Extremely.
Yes.
So Les booked a flight and was in Vegas in less than 12 hours to be with me. And I told, what I said was, Les was wanting to surprise me and come see me speak on your stage. But tell your version of the story of what happened.
Well, I thought you needed me there to be supportive of you. And so
I know that.
I dropped everything to come to be there. And when I showed up, they started interviewing me and talking to me. And I said, listen, I'm here in support of Johnny. And then at some point, they asked me, because you had already brought the stage down, let the record show. I said, how did he do? It said, he brought the stage down. I said, well, fantastic. I said, That's great. I'm glad to hear that. And then they asked me to come on stage to say a few words. Is that part of you talking about?
Yes. Well, here's what I wanted to say.
Yes.
First off, I want people to understand our relationship.
Yes.
It's not just a mentor-protege relationship. And it didn't happen overnight. But the love that we have for each other is mutual. And there are times in Les's life where I stopped what I was doing to be with him immediately, if not be with him, be with his family, because his family needed me there. And we've done that for each other. But here's the part of the story that I want people to understand. You did something on stage in 5 minutes in front of several thousand people that I've never seen before. I've seen you move an audience. I've seen you dominate in a way that you are in a league of your own. You spoke for maybe 7 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And you were the last speaker. This is a 2.5-day event, and you're the last speaker. And they're sleepy, they're tired. It's the end of the day. Multi-million-dollar earners on the front row were crying.
Yes.
In about 7 minutes, Les, you awakened giants inside of people that they forgot was there.
Mm.
You did laser surgery in 7 minutes for free. And you changed lives that night. And to me, am I still there?
Okay, yes, go ahead.
And to me, Les, without exaggeration, that literally puts you in a league of your own.
Mm.
Like, you have occupied space on the planet Earth that no one in our lifetime has occupied.
Mm.
You are a true legend from the inside out. I think a lot of people fight to become a legend externally. You're a legend internally. And the mark that you are going to leave on this planet is equivalent to the marks of great individuals like Martin Luther King, like Gandhi, Mother Teresa. And you know me well enough to know that I don't exaggerate.
No.
I don't use loose words like that. And I love you for life because of who you are and who you've helped me become.
Well, I love you for life as well. And I'm so proud of you. And please watch your knees in the parking lot. Coming for you.
Les is always challenging me.
Yes.
Always
Yeah,
challenging
I can
me.
still beat you doing push-ups. I want you to know that, all right?
I promise you'll never know. I saw you beat Kevin Bracey, and I was done. I don't want no problems.
Yeah, but Kevin was so angry. Oh my God, he was angry because he is built. He was so upset with me. He didn't speak for about 3 weeks to me. Well, listen, I love you. I appreciate you.
I love you.
I'm proud of you. Continue to change lives. Give Crystal and the children my regards. Johnny Wimbrey, the author of the book called From the Hood to Doing Good. Tell them once again how they can get in touch with you, how they can book you.
If you want to book me to speak at any event, whether it's a online event or it's a personal event, go to bookjohnny.com, bookjohnny.com, JOHNNY. You can see it. I'll add. I know my office is listening right now. Derek, if you can type in what I'm saying, bookjohnny.com. If you're looking for personal coaching, just go to coachjohnny.com. If you have, what it takes and you really want to, become a published author, go to costarauthor.com. I'm just in 2019, Les, and I want you to hear what I'm saying. My desire is to find someone who's better than me. In 2019.
Yes.
I want to be what P. Diddy has been to the hip hop world, Oprah Winfrey has been to television. I want to find people who have hidden talents, hidden messages, hidden inventions, even as an investor. And I want to show the world who they are. And you got to think about it. You know, where would Fantasia be without American Idol? Where would Kelly Clarkson be without American Idol? Would we know their name? Probably not. But they were great singers before American Idol.
Yeah.
And that's what you did for me. Les Brown was American Idol for me. He was the X factor for me. He was the one who said, I'm not intimidated by Johnny's talent. I'm not Johnny, here's my microphone. Show me what you got. And I have never, on any platform of professionals, have seen people do what you have done for people with talent. You genuinely are not intimidated by anyone who's on the stage. And to me, that makes you the X factor of the speaking industry.
Thank you very much. And so I am so proud when Mike Williams asked me, where's your Les Brown? I said, his name is Johnny Wimbrey. And he cannot disagree, because he said, when he saw you, this is my mentor, Mike Williams, who wrote the book, The Road to Your Best Stuff. He said, he's got it. You've got it. You have greatness in you, and you have the rare gift of bringing out the greatness in others. I love you. And it's just proud for me. People tell me about you. I know Johnny Wimbrey, and that makes me something. That makes me special. I say, well, thank you. I know him too.
I love you, Les.
I love you too, and there's nothing you can do about it. Take care.
Hey, Les Brown's birthday is coming up. Send him love. Send him unstoppable love. My birthday is the 26th. Yours, February the
17th.
February 17th. Are you an Aquarius too?
Yes.
That's so dangerous.
Yes.
We should never be on the same side of the world at the same time.
No. We don't need to do that. Okay. Thank you. Take care.
I love you for life.
Yes. Love you for life as well. His name is.
Now, I'm going to figure out how to disconnect without looking crazy like what's her name did.
Right.
Oh, and Kim, she's a bad girl. Oh, my God.
Yes, she is.
If y'all didn't see the Kim Watt interview, go watch the Kim Watt interview. It's on lesbrown.com. I mean, Les Brown's Facebook.
Yeah, she's awesome. Listen,
Murder.
bookjohnny.com. If you want a booking, you want a speaker that can come in and empower, educate, and have a custom designed presentation that will orchestrate an experience for the audience that will transform them individually and collectively, go to bookjohnny.com. And his book, From the Hood to Doing Good. He's awesome. From the Hood to Doing Good by Johnny Wimbrey. I love you. Take care. You have something special. You have greatness in you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Sticking to it.
Take care, my brother. All right.